Hey,
What are you doing?
I am putting up fur strips on the wall so that we can fill in with insulation. I'm going to do some foam insulation between these fur strips.
Okay, and what is that going to do?
It just adds a little more insulation, a little more insulation value to the walls, as well as the fur strips are going to be what we attach our interior paneling to. So, working on that. I'm going to get this done and then start figuring out where I'm going to frame in some walls, because I'm going to start working in the electrical bay probably tomorrow.
All right, mister. What is happening today?
Well, we're framing in these pipes right here. So this runs to our over-the-road heat and air from the radiator, and so they're big, like 1.5-inch pipes. And so I'm framing that in, since we want to keep that over-the-road heat and air in place when we're driving. And so I'm framing that. I framed that in to cap it, and I'm just laying some insulation in the inside of where I framed it up. And then on top of this, I'm going to put a piece of plywood over this, and then frame on top of that where I'm going to run electrical wire. So on both sides over here.
Oh, you already did this side.
Yeah, so I'm already finished framing it. So it's just, I'm just laying the insulation now.
Nice.
And just, there's already insulation in there, but I'm just adding a little bit extra insulation. And since I've got the opportunity to do it, might as well.
Cool. Who socked you in the face?
Nobody socked me in the face. Why?
You had a big old black eye.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's been some dirty work going on.
It means get some shiz done.
That's right. I just socked myself in the face being out here working in 130 degrees.
No, it's 96.
Well, it's 96 now, but when I was out here earlier, it was 103.
I don't even come out here, folks, just so you know.
Not when it's this hot.
Heck no, but that looks pretty dang good. He's got a lot done.
Yeah, so we're rolling. I mean, for part-time in it, not too bad.
No, that looks good. Nice. All right.
One step at a time. That's how it goes. I'm figuring probably going to use gallons of liquid nails before this job's done, just because I want everything to be held tight as we're rolling down the road and everything's shifting. So I'm gluing pretty much everything. Wherever 2 pieces of wood meet, probably going to get glued. So what I'm doing is I'm trimming out the windows right now. And this is going to give me a channel to run electrical in, and also start to frame out a couple of the interior walls. The one right here by the ladder is the one I really need to get done. That way I can put my electrical box in this wall right here, and then the shower goes right on the other side of it. So it took a while to figure out how we were gonna trim these out, just because kind of a lot of this whole curve thing, and we were taking up a lot of space inside here. So we ended up curving the inside as well as the outside of the trim piece. And I'll have a cap going over this that's going to follow that arc, and then our blinds will go attach here and come down. So the blinds will be covered by a piece that goes over. You'll see. The other thing is all these windows are different in here, so it's kind of hard to see it. You'd think everything would be exactly the same, but they're not, surprisingly. And the steel frame, even, it's not flat, you know, from one piece to the next. It could be, you know, cocked one way or the other. So it kind of take some Kentucky windage on the woodwork here a little bit. Okay, some of you might have noticed that I've got a little foam strip up on this steel frame. So that's serves two purposes. One, it's a moisture barrier, and the other, hopefully a little bit of a heat barrier too, so that some of that heat transfer. In the summertime when it was really hot, you couldn't even touch this with your hand, it was so hot. So I'm trying to keep some of that transfer from the interior materials. Plus these channels where where we've already framed out, this is all going to get filled with insulation as well. So that's how we're going about it. Right or wrong, that's what we're doing.
Well, what are you doing right now?
I am building the wall for the other side of the shower,
Yeah.
and it'll also be separating the shower from the kitchen.
Oh, nice.
So today I'm framing. I've got a lot of the electrical already run. I'm to the point where I need more walls in here to finish doing the electrical, so we're gonna have to frame out the walls, finish running the electrical, then on to plumbing.
Cool.
So we're moving along. So we wanted to keep the exterior of the bus looking like it's like a tour bus, just like a regular bus. So when it's going down the highway, people won't really know what it is. So we're leaving all the windows intact. I'm not putting any steel over the windows. I didn't pull any windows out to redo that. I thought about it. I seriously considered it, but I really like the way the bus looks with the windows, so I wanted to keep the exterior looking that way. So what I'm doing is we're doing this corrugated steel here where we're having walls inside, or a refrigerator, or the oven, or the pantry, things like that. So I'm insulating the windows. I black the windows out, insulating the windows, and then I'm going to put the wall up, but I'm putting the wall up one window at a time. So if we ever have a problem, I can pull the refrigerator out, unscrew the wall, and find, like, if there's a leak or something, I can address it or whatever needs to be dealt with. So it's not the end of the world. It may cause a little extra work down the road, but that's the way we're doing it. That's the way I want to do it. So I want to keep the integrity of the look of the bus from the exterior the same as it is, and that's how it's going. Anybody that knows, when they look at it, is going to know it's a RV on the inside. But most people won't recognize the fact that it's an RV or not. They're going to think it's just a busload of people hauling down the road with seats in here.
Oh, gotcha.
So I kind of want to keep that look. I just like that look, you know. Well, I am figuring out how to make this curve on the wall. So I tried brown board, but it snapped. It wasn't flexible enough to make this connection right here. So I decided, we have a lot of wood in here, so I decided to go with this in this area. Actually, we're going to be able to see very little of this because there's going to be a refrigerator here, pantry here, the oven and microwave there. So you won't be able to see much of it, but I think what we can see is going to be kind of a cool effect. Well, once I attach it, and I've got insulation behind it. So I got insulation that's going up behind it, like that.
Yeah. And then you put the galvanized, the corrugated.
The corrugated, so it shouldn't be moving at all because it's going to have that solid foam behind it.
All right.
So it should be fairly solid. I might fill these gaps between the blocks. So I'm just trying to figure out how to trim out these windows. But so I put some reflectix in just to kind of as a moisture and heat barrier. And then I've got some of this marine grade foam insulation that I'm going to use, I think, to trim the rest of the window out.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I was having a heck of a time coming up with a material that would mold to the shape well, but I think this might be the ticket. So yeah, we went to a boat store to see if they had some of the insulation that I'd found online, and they wanted to know what we were using it for. And when I told them, they just said, "Oh, we don't have any of that." I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me you didn't have any of it in the first place?
Crazy. They can't. The people just can't think outside the box, and we need people to think outside the box because that's what we're having to do.
That's for sure. So I'm trimming out all the windows here. So we're getting ready to insulate these pockets. I've pretty much got the wires in where they need to go. So once I get these operable windows trimmed out with this foam, then I'll start capping these off. Yeah, so okay, so I'm putting in the backing for me to nail the skin onto the windows. And what I'm doing is I'm placing the blocking here strategically to help me achieve this curve. So I'm using 1x blocks like this all the way down, and then at the top I use a 2x block because that's where the arc is the most extreme, and I want a real solid attachment there so to screw into. And I'm gluing everything, making sure everything is glued really well because I don't want anything rattling loose down the road. So I'm trying to make sure everything's attached super solid. You can see over here on this one that I've got the first layer on. It's all screwed on. So the first 2 layers I actually attach it to the wall with screws. The third layer, the finished layer, it's just attached with glue and finish nails. So this thing's going to get smeared with glue before I put the second layer on. And then the same thing for the third layer. With the third layer, I just
And what kind of wood is that again?
This is called brown board.
And it says because it's flexible,
It's
right?
flexible and very durable. It's real solid stuff. But yeah, so I after some trial and error, I decided to use brown board for this particular situation.
Cool.
So yeah, that's how that's working.
Hold your ears.
I don't think it's that loud. Okay, so we are finishing out the faces on our windows, which, as you can see in the video, that they are arced. So it's been kind of interesting putting this together. But what I ended up using was brown board because it's nice and flexible and it's durable, fairly hard, so it should hold up over time. So 3 layers on each window on each frame, so it's a little time consuming. As you can see, I'm working on the second layer on this one, and I just clamp it all the way down as I screw it into some cleats that I put into the window frame. So I've got all these have all 3 coats, all 3 layers on them, and we're off and moving.
You said something about that you were gonna lacquer or epoxy.
Yeah, I'm seriously considering doing a vertical epoxy treatment on this. I'm gonna play around with it first and see what I can create, and then try to make it so they all kind of match. But I think it could be a pretty cool look if I can pull it off.
Ooh. Where's this insulation going?
Behind that board, we get ready to attach the wall in the shower.
Cool.
On top of that foam insulation that I put up there yesterday.
Just for added insulation.
Yeah, if we got an opportunity to add some insulation, I'm doing it.
Cool.
So this is 1.5 inch foam with metallic back facing out to shed the heat out. The window's blacked out, so that adds some insulation value as well. So then I'm just gonna fill these gaps with fiberglass insulation just to add that much, a little more.
Well,
Right
I mean,
at the moment.
you're insulating the shower
Yeah.
and
Sweat.
it's not even hot.
Well, if you're the one doing all the work, and it is.
Really? I don't do anything?
I gotta do everything.
That's Stan's line, in case anybody.
It's the
And
truth.
that look too. It's like, I've got to do everything.
It's the truth.
It is not the truth.
It's an interesting cut you have to make when you're working with a bus. It's all around. at least we know it's too big and not too small, so that's a good thing. I fixed too big.
How do you know that?
Because it's not fitting because it's too big.
Oh, okay.
All right. So,
Rocket scientist.
That's right. No nails there. All right.
Looks like we have a wall, people.
Yes, we do.